What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Just wanted to jump on here, see how everybody was doing. I'm surviving the week so far. I mean, it's only Tuesday, right? This week has been already a trip. Had to come up with a schedule for the kids, which was fairly interesting considering they're not technically in school yet. I think next week is when they start to go back to school. So I thought it was important to actually have a schedule, and it's fairly detailed. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. You know, I posted something yesterday. It was a quote by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Things which matter most must never be at the mercy of things which matter least. So, I thought today would be a good time to talk about that, considering the present circumstances. If any of you are like me, you work from home, business owner, or trying to be a business owner, this is actually a perfect time to sit down and really think about what we're trying to do for the future. I know everything right now seems kind of bleak, but if we dwell on right now, it's not going to get any better. So why not sit down and think about how we want it to be in the future? Um, for instance, we have a bunch of goals, or most people have goals in life, right? Where they want to see themselves in a year, 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 10 years. I don't know what that looks like for you, but for me, I've got a lofty goals. I've got a lot of things that I want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years. And in order to do that, I've got to sit down and write everything down. And I started reading this book the other night, and I've heard it before. I think I started it before. I just never got through it. It's called The One Thing, and it's by a Gary Keller and a Jay Papasan. Now, one of my coaches slash mentors, Amanda Kaufman, is actually, she brought it up a while back when I first started working with her. And I've got the book, just never read it. And my wife read it. She enjoyed it. And I'm reading through it right now and looking at all the stuff that she underlined. So I thought it was interesting when I came across this quote in there because I had this issue, right? I had a list of things that I needed to get done, my to do list, as they like to call it. And it was just a laundry list of stuff. And a lot of it really had no bearing on my actual goal of what I needed to accomplish. So there's two types of things that you can put down, right? There's now goals, or goal tasks rather, not really goals, we'll say tasks, and things that can wait. And a lot of times people confuse the two. They start writing down everything they have to do in no particular order, and then they see this long list of stuff, and they end up getting stuck on something. And it turns out that that's not even a necessary thing. Um, for instance, I'll give you an example that I used several times for myself. When I was trying to get this whole business off the ground, I had my podcast that I wanted to start, and I thought that I had to have everything perfect. I had to get equipment, I had to get training to figure out how to edit and music and all this stuff. And it's not the case. It's no different than right now going live, right? I just hit a button and start talking. As long as I know what I'm talking about, it makes it a lot easier. So I had all these things that I was trying to get done that didn't really need to get done. All I needed was a mic and some time. That's it. And I could have gotten off my butt and got to work. And with all the time that most of us are going to have in the next, I don't know, coming weeks, I think it's imperative that we sit down and we think about it. Like, what do we want to accomplish over time, next year, 2 years, right? And what I'd have you do is I'd have you sit down and write down what your goals are. Maybe three goals: a big one, a small one, a medium one, and a small one. All right, and each goal is going to have certain things that you have to do in order to accomplish them. Correct? Well, write down there each goal what needs to happen, and be fairly detailed about it. Take some time, uh, you know, actually think about what you have to do, and start writing. And then, once you've written everything that you think you need to do for each goal, set it down and step away. Go to bed. Take the rest of the day, just relax, sleep on it. Come back the next day. Now, I want you to look at it and prioritize it. What actually has to happen today in order for you to get started? and then the next one, and the next one. And really look at them and figure out which ones, how can I put it? Which ones can wait? Which ones aren't actually imperative, they're just niceties. Like certain things that you would like to have happen after you get going on accomplishing your goals. And once you start pecking away at things, you'll see that you'll break it down to, as the book says, they use the Pareto's rule or Pareto principle, 80-20. So they break it down to 20% of the tasks you wrote down will probably be what you need to do. Well, you could probably break that down to another 20% and another 20% until you find that one thing, as they like to say. And that's important. Like, you really need to look at it and be honest with yourself. So there's another factor you have to keep in mind. It's not really mentioned in the book, and maybe it is. I'm not there yet. I don't know. But it's the fear factor. So you start looking at all this stuff, and it starts getting a little overwhelming because you have all these tasks. Well, as you break it down, you break it down, you break it down, you find that one thing, and maybe you kind of hold off because you're kind of nervous to get started. Like, can I actually do this? Is this something that I really want to do with my life? And that's another thing you have to keep in mind. But I would beg you to just do it. Just pick a date that you're going to start and get going. Because if you wait, one, you'll never get to where you want to be, or it'll take you forever to get there, right? But if you just get started, one day you can look back and like, you know what, I was scared, but I did it anyway. And if you're like me, you want to be able to tell your kids how brave you were one day. You weren't scared to follow your dreams, And again, with everything that's going on in the world, I think it's important that we sit back and think about where we want to be in the future. What can we create for ourselves, for our family, for maybe our community, depending on what field you're in. And let's do it. Let's just execute. I think that's really important. Yeah. So, like I said, this wasn't going to be a long one. I just wanted to jump on here and talk a little bit about the quote I posted, because I think it's important that when it comes down to things that we want to do, we do need to put the priority up front, and we need to be able to identify it. And sometimes it takes sitting down and really thinking long and hard about what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, writing everything down, and figuring out how to get to where we want to be. What's the most important step, and then take it, and then move on. Just keep in that cycle, and eventually you'll get to your goal a lot quicker. I trust me. Why put it off, right? So, again, for those of you that joined in, I really appreciate it. Jason, Ken, Dane, Lee, and my boy Rich, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, got any questions? Want to chit chat? Hit me up. Y'all take care now.